Good evening. I call this Finance Committee meeting to order at 4:30 p.m. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Roll call. Both directors are present. Moving on to approval of the agenda. Are there any changes?
There are no changes to the agenda.
All right.
I'll motion to move the agenda.
All right. I will second. So agenda approved. Moving on to public comment. There are no members of the public in person or online at this time. So we will move on to approval of minutes. I will approve the motion to approve the minutes.
And I will second the motion.
All right, minutes approved. So we move on to item 4, review of 26-27 draft budget.
Thank you. David's going to be presenting the draft budget.
Oh, thank you, Don. Good evening, directors. To start off, we asked our consultant to do a financial plan update on our recent numbers. Everything looks really, really good. The recommended rates that we're looking at this year is a 4% increase. The CPI for our area as of January was sitting at 3.2. So a lot has happened in the last couple months. We'll see which way it goes. So we're working off 4%, and you'll see that in the water sales. The actuals year to date for the water sales, line 12, are coming in at $4,963,000, which is a little over 1% more than what was budgeted. The increase is showing at 6% because we are also reducing the tier 1 amount from 11 units to 9 units. So, and also in that, it's kind of something we looked up. There's only 33% of the customers use 11 units or more. So, majority of our customers are below that threshold and won't be impacted too much.
Yeah, going back to that, dropping the tier down from 11 to 9, that was built into the rate study. We did not do that in the past, but we are continuing to be ramped down by Mojave Water Agency, and that is based on our free production allowance, and we are down to 45% this year. So we're recommending that we do drop the first tier down to 9 from 11.
We talked to Mojave, and they were going to do a study or something, or were they doing studies on the basin to determine safe yield?
They are, well, who knows?
Who knows?
They haven't come back with anything. George can probably update, but at this point, we're still being ramped down.
Yeah, the engineer couple over with Mojave is still working on that model to bring it back to the judge for the adjudication. So I know there was some discussion about that. It kind of seems how much of that model can you really grow, right? So at some point there's going to be a cutoff is when they're just going to accept the model, but it has not been brought to the judge yet.
And then for us in our zone that we pump out of, the well levels haven't been dropping, right? Have they been staying fairly steady, or?
Yeah, the well levels have been fairly steady for the past number of years. So we still don't agree with the ramp down, but short of trying to pull out of the adjudication or getting a study which takes into account some of the things we've been presenting for a number of years, we are still on the ramp down.
Yeah, they brought in the return flows as part of the recharge. They did put a hold at 45% last year to this year, so there wasn't any change in the ramp down, but they are discussing that 40% will be proposed in the coming judgment. So we'll see something with that probably in April, May in the discussion of water masters.
I appreciate you guys staying on top of that. That's great. Thank you.
There will be a presentation here at the next board meeting with Mojave, with Coppell and their engineer. So I think that's going to be on the agenda.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, another note on those ramp downs. The original approved rate study where it had the rates approved up to 16% per year for like 5 years. So last year we were only able to do 6%, and this year we're asking for a 4%. So it's pretty positive.
When we looked at the overall budget and everything, do we throw anything in there for the salary survey we're going through? Or do we think that'll be at 27, 28 anyways?
Yeah, the salary survey will be in this year, the comp and class study we're doing. There might be a little bit that overlaps in the next year, but we are budgeting for that. In addition to that, we're about ready to fill one of the positions that we vacated recently over the past year or two. And so our budget, when we I'm getting ahead a little bit, but when we get to the employee part of it, we are budgeting for full staff still, waiting on the comp and class and the recommendations.
All right.
So that way we're covered and we don't have to come back later and say, well, we didn't plan ahead.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, so moving on to line 20 for the meter charge, that you'll see the 4% as well. So that's just an increase of $189,000. For total water sales revenue, to $10,187,000. The special assessments, we're receiving $285,000. That amount just slightly decreases every year based on new meters coming online. Our park and rec fee, just a small fee for renting out the community centers. We're budgeting that at $15,000. Other services, income, other services and administrative fees, we're gonna keep that with no change. So that's gonna be an annual amount of $348,000. That's just for the disconnection fees and credit card fees. So we're looking at a gross income for this year, for this next budget year, of $10,833,000, which is an increase of $489,000. The amount for the current year to date is just, it's coming in almost $200,000 more than budgeted. So we're really close on these numbers. You guys have any questions on all that section? I mean, we just discussed it.
I'm good.
Moving down to water purchases, the MWA administrative and bio fee, just a slight increase that they have every year, so that's going to be $20,000. We're not budgeting for any purchased water. We do like to point out that due to the board action back in 2012 and 2015 of the purchase of water rights, we saved $1,135,000 this year, which equates to about, it's a 10% in the water rates. If we just equate that to that, we'd have to bump up rates 10%. So that's always a positive to see that number. Moving on to the salaries. So as Dawn mentioned, per the salary survey we're going through, and the recommended COLA, we're budgeting at a 3%. Like I said, it's sitting at 3.2. Not sure which way it's going to go. So we did a 3% COLA. So we did a 5.5% increase to the current year's budgeted numbers, which would be at full staff. And as we go down to line 81 for the retirement cost, this current budget year and the last 2 years, we've made a UIL payment to CalPERS of $100,000. We are not budgeting for that this year due to CalPERS. Well,
51.
what did I say, 81?
Yeah.
It's 51.
I was like, where did, oh,
Sorry, bottom. Next year there'll be glasses. They're there. I just don't want to wear them yet. They're there. It's really close. All right, line 51. So we're not paying that additional $100,000 this year as CalPERS had positive investments. So we're looking to be 100% funded. Yes.
What's CalPERS, they try to make 5% a year? Is that what they're-
No, they're at 7. Is it 6.8 or 7 something?
Right around 7%.
Yeah.
Had they not done some of the investing that they've done in the weird things, they would be in great shape.
Yes. And save us a lot of money.
So if you, any other questions on the salary section?
Not
We
for
okay with
me.
that? Um, Moving on to the board compensation. So line 54, we're budgeting $40,500, which is, I'm just assuming, the regular meeting schedule and activities for all members. This is slightly up due to the increase, I'm not sure how long ago it was, 6 months, a year ago. The travel expenses, education, meals and lodging. I'm using, I guess, the averages for the last couple of years, bumping it up a little bit every year for inflation and all that. The combined amount for lines 55, 56, 57 is $19,700. Now, I know there was some discussion for the board, and I'm trying to figure out, are we okay with what this amount is? Because we talked about limits for each board member, but if we go based on historical averages, this is how I'm getting the 19,000. But if each board member wants to be maxed out, we're looking at a different number.
Yeah, what we've historically done with that, we budget for the full amount. In case that happened, it has not happened, but if there's that possibility, we have been budgeting for that, but that's up to the board.
So your numbers are budgeting for all of us to tap out everything? It's not.
No, that's what I think is right. I am budgeting for what has actually been happening, the trends. So if you guys have conferences, more training that you would like to attend, if we can get some specific numbers, we could bump that up. Like I said, because you guys do have a cap, which would be at least twice as much as that. Yes, it would be twice as much.
Yeah, I think my recommendation would be to budget for that amount. And that way, if you do decide you want to go to a conference, it's not a big budget item.
Okay. And then we still obviously keep our same rules that if any
Yes.
particular director is going over their individual allotted amount, it still has to be pre-approved.
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
each director has an individual amount.
Okay. Is that all right?
Good to me.
Okay.
Okay, so that'll add another $19,000 to that line.
Okay.
So you're looking at a total $157,000. Moving on to professional fees section. Going with the major change on this line is line 64 for outside service. This year's year-to-date numbers are looking at $313,000, and we're going to budget $337,000. We had some projects come in this year. We had a hydraulic model update in this current year that we're doing, and this coming year, I'm budgeting for some temporary labor in the office, and I guess a GIS dashboard is going to increase the cost a little bit. So the total amount for professional fees is going to be $52,000 higher and come in at $823,000.
So
Yes, sir.
even, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to
Refinish.
ask for questions.
Oh, didn't mean to jump on you there. Even with the new proposal, the class and comp study and everything, you're still looking at needing some temporary employee? Is that what you're
Yeah,
talking about?
we have one staff member that's going out on leave. We have a couple of members that are going to be out. One is going to be out for maternity leave for a period of time, and that will be in that department.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. We'll move on to service and supplies. Again, all of our numbers are coming in close to budget, and we're budgeting similar amounts until we get down to the insurance costs. Insurance on line 77. The positive is it was slightly less than what they originally projected, the numbers they gave us last year for the estimates. The estimates this year are coming in close to what was budgeted, so it's $223,000. So it's a 10% increase to our insurance, liabilities, and then the vehicle insurance. We're assuming a slight increase in the next line, the fuel costs. We've added a little bit more into this year's projected numbers for the, what is it, it's 25% increase in fuel right now over the last month. And then carrying that forward for next year. So that's going to be $138,000.
Not to jump forward, but
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that we had a budget item for a new vehicle, so you're taking in consideration adding that into the fuel costs as well? The crane truck or whatever?
Yes, that'll be on the later on in the
Yeah.
budget. Yeah.
The vehicle is, yes, and the fuel, that's just, it's not, yeah, they'll
Okay.
just be swapping out truck for truck.
Gotcha.
So we're looking at fuel. The next one I want to talk about is operating supplies, line 82. These costs, these should come down a little bit. We had this is one of the lines that's going to be up due to the winter storm activities we had. We had an uptick in costs, so these should all come down. We are also, we ended the contract with our first aid supplier. So we'll be doing some of that items in-house. So that is going to be another savings right there. So we're looking at, for that line, saving $18,000 this year. Repair and maintenance line 84. Again, here's another line we had increased costs due to the storm. We've been repairing a lot of lines, lowering them. Looking at doing some more work in this coming year, and there's an increased cost. Operations wanted to add for any well and booster repairs. Do you guys have any other questions on the service and supplies section? As we're looking at overall, $261,000 increase.
Yeah, and on some of these too, excuse me, when we get the FEMA money for the repairs for the pipeline, some of that's going to be coming back in, even back to some of the water costs. We have excess water in Alto. We just did a lease back and recover about $50,000 positive into the budget too. So there will be some things that will be coming back in and offsetting these. Hopefully.
You guys would like to move down to the utility section?
Yeah.
Our utilities are coming in. The Edison bills are always a little bit behind, so it's kind of hard to get a good track on these numbers. They're coming in a little bit higher, and we're not receiving as much solar credits as we have. It's, as I was made aware, we're hitting that 10-year window. A lot of the inverters are going out, so we're getting those replaced. So hopefully we can be back up and running and get 100% of our budgeted credits next year. Get them back up in that area. Edison informed us of there's going to be a 5% increase this year. So my total utility cost is coming in at $1,699,000. Depreciation, line 107. This amount is going up due to the new wells coming online, and then in government, we have the new parks projects should be finished at the end of this year. So depreciation is gonna go up $45,000. Line 111, for net operational income, we're in the positive for enterprise, $462,000. Just 2 years ago, the net operational income was always running at a negative. So this is really good to see that we're, that positive number right there. The property tax revenue, line 126. This is showing a 5% increase. Property tax revenue going to receive $2,150,000. This goes up every year slightly due to, COLA and the new county estimates. We get a little bit extra. So $2 million in government revenues. We are not budgeting for a transfer from government to enterprise anymore. That I believe just this year was the last year of doing that.
What is the property tax revenue in the enterprise fund? Where does that come from?
I'm not sure. Let me get specifics and get back to you. I want to say it's just the penalties from the assessments, the standby charges, and when we send people to the tax roll for that, for late on their bills. I believe that's what goes in that line because it's 15,000. But let me get specifics.
I was just curious on why it was there.
Yeah, I haven't researched that one fully. Line 130 for penalties and other fees. This amount goes up slightly just due to the increase in rates. So that's an amount of $258,000. Sorry, 68. The solid waste revenue, we're just adding the COLA, is what they've been doing every year until they can complete their rate study. So that revenue is looking at $433,000. The current year is projected to receive $420,000, which again is just slightly over what we budgeted. The new meter installs. So over the last 2 years, we've received an average about 70 per year. This year's coming in right around 60. So on the conservative side, I continue to budget 48. So the meter installation revenue and all that is $702,000. This year we're in, the projected number is looking at $947,000, which is, over $200,000 over budget. So that's good. You guys have any questions on what we've covered through there?
I don't.
Nope.
Okay. Line 142, interest income. This has been really nice, big number the last couple of years. This year's number, if we're looking at the total district year to date, it's going to come in at a little over $1,400,000. So we're budgeting only 1.1 million due to the spending of the loan funds we have for the Civic Center and a slightly reduced interest rate. The interest rate right now, short-term stuff sitting around 3.7, as before we were getting a little over 4. So, I was going to show in the enterprise that is a reduction of $300,000 though. Then we're looking at line 147 for the property, the lease revenue. That's $138,000. Those funds we have used, as the board approved, to repay the reserves for some loans we took out of there. And as I'll point out later, due to that additional money, this should be the last year. In 26-27 will be the last year our reserves will be fully repaid. The Chromium 6 surcharge is on there. That's going to go until 2030 at our current rate, I believe, June of 2030. We go to the next page, line 154. Interest expense this year is going to be $432,000. So we're looking at a net income for enterprise, $1,596,000. $2,171,000 for government, for a total of $3,767,000. And then with the repaying of the reserves, this amount, let's see, I'm looking at line 167 and 68. This amount is lower by $300,000 this year because at the end of the current year we're in, 25-26, the second loan will be paid off. So 2 of the 3 we've taken out will be paid, and then we just have 1 more which will be paid next year, fully reimbursed. So we're transferring $300,000 less this year to reserves than we have in the last couple of years. Our capital spending, line 171, for enterprise, it's $1.4 million. That doesn't include the Chromium 6 spending because that's paid back through the surcharge. So it's $1.4 million, and then in government, the 5.4 you're seeing is for the EOC funding. That brings our total net cash flow after CIP for enterprise to $326,000, looking at line 173. Government is going to be the minus $3,270,000. Thank you guys for letting me go through that. Do you guys have any other questions or suggestions?
Very thorough. You answered all my questions. I'm okay.
Yep, I'm good. I had some questions written down here when I looked at our old one, and you answered all those questions as well. So,
Oh, thank you.
thank you.
Just the other pages that were attached are the capital spending detail and summary, which we talked about right there at the end of on line 171. That was just to support that. I guess if there's nothing else, then
Good. All right. So nothing else in item 4 then, correct? Good. All right, so we move on to item 5, committee comments. Anything additional?
No additional comments. Thank you very much.
All right, so move on to 6, review of action items, prior meeting action items.
There were none.
All right, current meeting action items.
I have noted none.
Okay, so then we set agenda for next regular meeting, which is May 6th. Correct?
Yes, correct.
All right. Anything?
And that's the regular meeting, not any special ones, so.
Okay. No, it's nothing special.
Yeah.
All right. With no further business before the board, we will adjourn at 5 p.m. Thank you.